Hey, this is Matt once again. What about in the video? This is a paid request this time for Elliott. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting any type of videos, topics, reactions, commentaries, what have you, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. Now, this is for 2 more episodes of Firefly, episodes 7 and 8. Episode 7 is called Janestown, and episode 8, I forget the name of it, but actually, let's get episode 7 first, Janestown. Jane being the character that Adam Baldwin plays. This was a fun one. At times it was funny. I liked that it delved a bit deeper into Adam Baldwin as a character. Not so much like backstory. Well, like a teeny bit of what happened in this town, but you get to peel the layer more of Adam Baldwin's character, at least a little bit. Give it a little bit more, teeny bit more dimension. And I think Adam Baldwin's a good actor. Hell, you just say he's the best Baldwin and he's not even related to them. But the plot of it is the crew of Firefly lands on this planet. They're going to move some illegal goods. And Adam Baldwin doesn't want to be there because he knows he's been there before and he had stolen some stuff, or at least tried to steal some stuff. Now granted, I'm thinking, why don't you just leave him on the ship? And it's like, okay, fine, you set this one out in case anyone recognizes you. We'll go on our own merry way. Again, I don't know why they don't just do that. But, oh well. They take him along. This area, people make clay, among other stuff. And clay is like a rare source, I guess, in this time. And one relates to the other, they find this heroic statue, Adam Baldwin's character, and Nathan Fillion, Alan Tudyk, and Adam Baldwin are all dumbfounded by this. And at first they're confused, and Nathan Fillion's like kind of making fun of him and ribbing him, but it's like he's just as dumbfounded as well. Alan Tudyk has a funny line, "Man, we gotta go to the crappy town where I'm from, and maybe I'm a hero." And these people, like, they overhear these people singing folk hero songs about Jane, and then you get the idea that when Adam Baldwin and this partner he had tried to rob this place, he was trying to escape, but then the money got dumped. The money got dumped onto the people, and the people thought Adam Baldwin's character had robbed from the rich and given to the poor, even though that wasn't the case. Now again, I like Adam Baldwin as an actor. He was in Predator 2. He was in other stuff. I do like him in that. Sorry, cat's playing with a toy. It's one of those toy things that like they scratch and play and roll in. If you wonder, what the hell's that noise? Don't worry, no one's robbing the place. Just cat, they like, anyway, who gives a shit? I don't know, like you give a shit. But they get on a thing and they roll around, whatever. It's a cat toy. But it was cool. Like I say, I like Adam Baldwin as an actor. I liked him in Full Metal Jacket, Predator 2. He was a bit role in Independence Day, the first one. And it was nice to see kind of his own confusion. He doesn't understand, and then when he's found out, he gets into it, and yeah, I am good, and he was drinking with them and is enjoying that. Like, wow, maybe almost as if he might turn a new leaf. Maybe there is something to this. Like, maybe there is something, and maybe we shouldn't do this, and maybe we shouldn't use my fame to trick people. And like, it was nice to see Adam Baldwin not as one-dimensional of a character. And like, someone tells them by at one point they were going to tear down the statue, but they had a riot, and Adam's like, "You mean I had my very own riot?" Like, just how addictive and how happy he is to find the stuff out about it and enjoy. But the guy was like the magistrate he finds out Adam Baldwin's in town, and he had locked up the partner, who's like blind in one eye. Lets him go. You take care of Adam Baldwin. Bad guy comes in, tells the truth. Adam Baldwin admits the truth. But then, the spoiler alert, Adam Baldwin's ready to get shot, and this kid jumps in front of him. And Adam Baldwin just beats the fuck out of the asshole, just beats the ever-living shit out of him, fucks his day up. I like they didn't go in the direction where the town's like throwing stuff and cursing him out. I like that Adam Baldwin took the initiative and it's like, you see, this is who I really am. See, this is how you shouldn't do this and do that. And why did this kid do this? Why did he jump in front of me? And he pushes the statue down. It just shows that not only is he taking initiative, but he's learned. He didn't have to have someone tell him verbatim what he's supposed to learn. He's able to learn it on his own. And while no, it's not an episode with a lot of action, there are some subplots and side plots I don't care about. Like on the ship, Summer Glau, she's fixing the Bible because she says there's a lot of things wrong because it doesn't make sense, and the preacher's Ron Glass like, no, stop that, it's about faith. And then she gets scared by Ron Glass because he cleans himself up and his hair looks like Albert Einstein, and she freaks out, and then she's scared of him. That whole subplot I could not give a rat's ass about. I'm sorry, I'm gonna say it. Summer Glau, from the stuff I've seen of her, seems really fucking overrated. Maybe, I think she worked fine in that Terminator Sarah Connor Chronicles show, but here, I remember hearing stuff about her and her character. Overrated fucking character. Honestly, one of the least interesting, most obtrusive, get out of the way type of characters. I don't care for her spiel. I don't care for really her acting so far in the show. She's not impressed me. Anytime her little plots or side plots like this, it's just the least interesting part of the show. Not a fan. I like the Nathan Fillion a lot. I forget her name, but she's the sort of the second command. I like Alan Tudyk from Tucker and Dale vs. Evil. I like Adam Baldwin. I don't even mind the ship's mechanic, even though she does remind me still of Willow from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. But again, this was a fun episode that let Adam Baldwin get some shine. Get some... to show a bit more of his character, to show a bit more of him in the spotlight. You know, it's not a deep episode. It's not a episode that goes to the big arc of the story of the show. A fun diversion. I did like the way it ended, where I thought there was some really nice piece of music while they're leaving, and Nathan Fillion's talking with Adam Baldwin, and Baldwin's like, just doesn't make sense, that kid jumping in front. Why did he do that? He knew who I was. And Nathan talking about how, you know, there's people, they wanted to believe in something. And Adam Baldwin's like, still doesn't make sense. But you tell that he feels bad what happened. He feels bad for what happened to the kid. And that kid should still be alive. And I like they bring in a little bit more humanity to Adam Baldwin's character. And like I said, the music is very good in that scene. Soft, somber, but not melodramatic. So overall, again, I thought it was a fun episode. Episode 8 was interesting as well with how they filmed it, where you have 3 timelines, but it's not confusing. You have Nathan Fillion from the get-go has been shot in the stomach, and you can tell that he's alone on the ship, and he's trying to get this engine life support going because he finally got the supplies. Then it'll cut to flashbacks to how he met people, how he first met Alan Tudyk, up your ass. Alan Tudyk, his character, how they met him, how they met the mechanic lady, how they met each of these people. And that was nice. It was nice to see a little bit of, obviously with the running time you can't get too in depth, but it's nice to see a little bit of how it began and how these folks met. How he met the lady that, of course, at the beginning kept calling her hooker, 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 but at this point now they have a lot more respect for each other. So you have, and the way it's filmed, when I said the way it was done, is those flashbacks have like a golden tinge to it, yellow golden look, and then you have the not present but just a little bit in the past of them enjoying their time as a crew, and then the ship fucks up, the engine life support fucks up, the second command lady gets hurt, the losing oxygen. Nathan has to tell them at the end of these shuttles he'll wait here with his beacon in case someone comes so he can maybe fix the ship. But if it doesn't, at least you guys can get away. That's filmed in a different lighting, and then Nathan filmed by himself is filmed in more like a blue, purple blue tinge lighting. Like each one has their unique look to it. I thought that was a nice choice. I thought that was a nice, interesting decision. Obviously, because it's a TV show, the effects are not the best, but because like there's this fire and they open up the hatch to get the fire out into space. Again, the effects are not going to be top notch because it's a TV show, but I thought, I've seen worse in movies, to be fair, and I keep repeating this in other reviews, but I liked the idea. I thought it was a very interesting idea that when they shoot or when they show outer space, there's no noise. So you have the loud machinations of what's going on inside the ship, but then when it cuts to outside and the fire's going out, it's silence. Now sometimes they have done with silence with music, but I like in this that it's just absolute silence. Because it would be silence in space. There's no sound in space. Of course, there's plenty of movies I love that break that rule. But yeah, I thought that was an interesting decision to have in there, and one that I do appreciate. So again, it does this thing where it keeps the story interesting to see how Nathan's going to get out of this when he's been shot in the stomach, and how did he get shot in the stomach, and later on you find out how that happened. Then showing about how, so you have that interest of the viewer to keep you along. You're pretty sure he's not going to die because it's Nathan Fillion, he's the star of the show, but you're still wondering how is this going to resolve itself. Then telling us information of how it got to this point, and then showing again a bit more backstory to each of these characters. I mean, they could have just had, okay, we're having a drink and we're hanging out and let's tell some stories. Let me tell you a story about how I first met this guy. Let me tell a story how I first met Adam Baldwin. It could have easily fell into that. Plus, you could not mark it, but you could chalk it up to maybe Nathan Fillion, in a way, is flashing through his life as he's slowly bleeding out, trying to get this thing fixed. So it's either like showing what happened just a little bit before to get the audience up to speed, or showing what maybe he's thinking of and how Firefly got started, how he got his crew started, all that jazz. And it was edited enough where it wasn't confusing and it wasn't irritating. Zoe, I think that's the second command. Zoe, like she gets her. I read up that apparently she wasn't in the episode a lot because either she was pregnant or no, maybe it was like she had like a honeymoon and they wanted to give her some time for the honeymoon. That might have been it, some kind of honeymoon. It's something like that. I can't remember. But at least you get to see her some of the flashbacks portions. Like I said, it's not an action-packed show. Obviously, because of the dire circumstances, the present time there's not a lot of room for humor, but that also what helps with the flashbacks is you get a bit of that humor. Like Zoe's not a fan of Ellen Tudyk at first, which of course is ironic because eventually those two would get married. Nathan feeling how kind of energetic and happy he is for getting the ship and how excited he is to begin with. Like you tell, like in the past, he was a bit more jubilant and joyful, and he's still got a sense of humor at this point, but it's a bit roughness has been shaved, so to speak. And like I said, what makes this show work as I'm watching it is while the action might not be the most exciting and the effects were of their time, it's the characters that made it work. The characters and the way the dialogue exchanges are and how each of these personalities worked with each other. I thought for the most part they cast well, and for the most part they acted well. Like I said, of the cast, I don't care about the doctor and his sister, Summer Glau. That's the least interesting aspect to me of the show. To a point I kind of wish it wasn't the case. I kind of wish it was like Star Trek. Where Star Trek, here's a ship, they go to X, Y, and Z reasons. For most like Star Trek, it's mostly standalone episodes. And even this, for a lot of it, has been standalone episodes, to be fair. With sometimes this running theme of Summer Glau, but and the Doctor. But I just, again, those two characters are my least favorite. But it's an interesting way to do a flashback episode, but not do it in the typical fashion. So it kept things a bit interesting to see where it would go along. Because there's not a ton of room for humor or horror, like the one episode where they found the ship that was completely decimated and there's dead bodies hanging up, or it's not as humorous as the previous episode, Jamestown, or it's not as action-packed other episodes. I wouldn't say this is one of my favorites. I know it's one of Joss Whedon's favorites. In fact, I read somewhere this is like one of the 3 favorite things he's ever done in his life. Was this episode, an episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and I think a comic book. Now, I don't know if things have changed, but... And that's not even the end of the whole Joss Whedon thing. I don't know. A lot of people said he did stuff and he was an asshole. I wasn't there, so I can't prove or disprove anything. So I don't know what to tell you. But I do think the show, like I said, the characters are what made it work. And both these episodes were fun, were good to watch. Then Jamestown was more fun. Episode 8 is more interesting with how they edited all these 3 timelines together and not make it confusing, and how each one had their own little distinct look in terms of lighting and such. I thought that was fairly nicely done. And other than, the Doctor and Summer Glau not really being interested in those characters, I don't really have a lot of issues with it. Being a Western type of show, I do wish there was a bit more exciting action set pieces. I will say, I know that's shallow of me to say, because that's not their primary goal. But yeah, I like action, and I just would like to see more exquisite fight scenes or shootouts or then action set pieces. That you do deal away with the show, of course, but that's just me. But other than that, pretty good. So with that said, thanks for watching, take care, and we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.